This, by the way, is also the one-year anniversary of NAFTA renegotiation discussions. It's been going on for a year. Mexico and the U.S., by the way, may be heading towards a new NAFTA deal, close to hammering out a preliminary agreement by the end of the month. But the two countries have yet to bring in Canada, of course, the third partner in NAFTA, who's just sitting on the sidelines. Joining me now, former U.S. Ambassador to Canada and Canada Institute Advisory Board member, Ambassador Bruce Heyman. Ambassador, thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to get your perspective on this. You obviously know Canada very well. We seem to be edging closer to a deal with Mexico. But at this point, and I just was listening to the president in his cabinet meeting today telling the U.S. rep, listen, if you don't have a breakthrough with Canada, don't do the deal. What is it going to take to get Canada back to the table, and can we get a deal done with our Canadian neighbors?
Oh, Canada's going to be at the table. There's no doubt about it. The fact of the matter is that Canada is our best trading partner in the world. We do $670 billion worth of bilateral trade, and the U.S. has, yes, a surplus in goods and services. So Canada will be there. The discussions going on with Mexico right now are primarily focused on the auto sector, and I think given the extreme difference in wages that occur between Mexico and the United States and Canada, this is the focal point of that conversation. But you can't have a NAFTA deal without all three parties. And remember, they're all operating under Trade Promotion Authority, TPA, and this is a trilateral TPA. So all parties need to be at the table to make this happen. Don't think that you can just do a bilateral deal with one country or another without congressional authority here, and it's not going to happen.
I agree. Now, what is the relationship right now? How would you characterize it between President Trump and the Premier, Mr. Trudeau? At one point, they were like, people talked about a bromance, much like Trump and Macron of France, but it seems to have cooled off a little bit.
I think it's professional. I think that, unfortunately, the president has gotten emotional at times, whether at the G7 or even with a small group of donors where he was joking that he didn't know whether we were at a surplus or deficit, and so he just took the other side of whatever Trudeau was saying. But the fact of the matter is the U.S.-Canada relationship is so deep at so many levels. 35 states, their number one export market, is Canada. The U.S. Chamber wants this to work. Governors and senators and congressmen and business leaders, we're all together. We want this NAFTA to be updated. And look, I'd love to see this get done in the next couple of weeks. I just think U.S. is going to have to step back from its sunset provisions.
Well, I was going to ask you about that,
getting rid of dispute resolution.
The sunset provision basically says that whatever deal is negotiated goes away after 5 years unless all sides agree to extend it. Now, Canada's come back and said, why don't we do this? Why don't we just have periodic reviews? And if there are specific areas that need altering because they're not quite working out, we can do that, but keeping the overall agreement intact.
Reasonable. I mean, the fact of the matter is businesses will not commit to plant and equipment or any long-term decisions if they felt an agreement was going to blow up in 5 years. But they will be part of an agreement where it's constantly updated and brought into current standards. NAFTA's 25 years old this January. Many industries that exist today didn't even exist when NAFTA was first written.
But do you agree with the President Trump, that we were getting the short end of the stick when it comes to our agreement with Mexico and Canada? From Canada's perspective, he says, look at dairy. Look how much U.S. Dairy exports are taxed. Did he have a point?
Yeah. No, he doesn't have a point. I think he's picking, it's if you found a dandelion on the beautiful groomed football field and you said, I'm going to rip up the whole football field because there's one dandelion. The fact of the matter is 99+% of all trade with Canada was tariff-free. Yeah. And when he talks about dairy, there are aspects of U.S. in sugar and peanuts and all kinds of agricultural products where we also charge tariffs. The fact of the matter is the U.S. has a surplus in trading dairy with Canada. We have a surplus in steel with Canada, which is crazy. We're putting on these duties for national defense purposes. We have a surplus overall in goods and services with Canada. Canada is our best trading partner in the world. And, while there may be some issues he has from a trade deficit perspective with Mexico, that does not exist with Canada. And I think most people in the country know that.
So you're, very quickly, Ambassador, you're optimistic that this will get done. The U.S. is talking to Mexico now. You think Canada will come to the process quickly and we can get this wrapped up?
I think we can get it wrapped up if the U.S. backs away or is open to modifications to its sunset provision and to the dispute resolution. If they stick to that, these are no-go zones for the business community as well as our trading partners. So the deal will not happen if they stick to that.
No, we'll see. Anyway, Ambassador Bruce Heyman, thank you for bringing your expertise to the table. Appreciate it today. Thank you very much.